Welcome back. You're watching the final part of Here and Now on NTV, where we're talking about youth and politics. And just before the break, we were talking about the aggression and vitriol that comes with politicking. Let's focus on Kenya for now, because that's the landscape we're covering. And you were all jumping in because Mheshimiwa was sort of saying, well, I'm passionate. It's not to be misconstrued with aggression and violence. Very quickly, if you can chip in on that, Jimmy and Muthiora, very quickly.
I think the reality is that the fodder that fuels the violence is usually young people, and young people should refuse to be used that way.
Okay.
If young people say that this one we are not going to participate in, then it's done. We were running a campaign that was youth-led and youth-managed, and most of the people within our camp did not participate because they owned the campaign. If you feel like you have to intimidate the other person from the other camp using that one, then that's very unfortunate.
Okay.
Well, just like you've seen during this show, the leaders we have today, especially some of the young ones, they're smooth talkers and suave. What we need to do is to take responsibility when we screw up. Honorable Babu Owino inflamed the tensions in the nation back in 2017. So I'm disappointed sitting in a panel and listening to him not apologize, but rather try to justify what he did then, knowing full well what that could have done to this nation. And my appeal to all young leaders up there, I want them to go back to Makueni and remember the stubborn MCAs we had then. Most MCAs are virtually young, youthful, under 35. They did not represent well, and that's why during the general elections in 2017, none of them was elected back. Now, our leaders, especially the young ones, need to be inventive, innovative, find new ways to do things, to provide solutions.
Okay.
Now, fortunately, on the panel, I wish you brought more young leaders who are in parliament, because most of them have let us down. They're spoiling it for us.
Okay.
Now, I would wish
to,
just before he interjects, he'll have an opportunity.
Right.
You see, like Babu Owino knows that the culture of handouts should not be encouraged. But as an MP in Embakasi East, he runs a program where he gives unga to his constituents, when we know it's better to train how to fish rather than give fish. So I just want our young leaders to do better.
All right, allow him to respond.
Because of time, let me respond. First, to go on the issue of the unga. For you to show a person how to fish, the person must see and know what to fish. Otherwise, the person will fish a snake for you. So you have to show the way. Number two, we saw in the nation when there was a disaster for the drought, we were taking food to them. What was that showing? What if the similar situation is applying to Embakasi's constituency, where the residents have nothing to eat? If I take to them what to eat, is that a problem? Jesus Christ turned, he used bread and fish to feed 5,000, a multitude of 5,000. So there's no problem of feeding people. I don't have a problem with that. Number two, you said that leaders have disappointed you. Now, in my own thinking, I tend to believe the reason why the youths did not agree with your ideologies, not you, but your ideologies, because you are not real. Live in this real world of politics. You don't need to castigate leaders just because you never won any election.
What do you mean by real?
Number one,
be more present?
Number one, the leaders in this nation, the youthful leaders, are not a disappointment. Babu Owino, I can proudly say and tell you before the living God that I'm one of the best MPs in this nation who's delivered over 22 roads that I've done. Bursaries have been given. Women are doing table banking. I've already looked for employment opportunities, jobs for our youth, started projects for them too. So you can't just blanketly say that these leaders have disappointed us. And lastly, on you, His Excellency, I tend to believe that 2022, you're also going to attempt to be the president. You need to convince people like Babu, who are not vying in 2022, to rally his support behind you, because any youth can win any position. And I agree with him that even him, he can be president, but you need to change your ideologies. Do not think negatively of any other leader, and do not think that if all the youthful leaders were here, there's a reason why they were chosen.
Oh, wow, we've completely run out of time because there's a news bulletin, unfortunately. Are we completely out of time? Is that what you're saying? Oh, we have a few more minutes.
Yeah.
I know you want to respond. Let's allow you to respond in
Yes.
final comments. And about young politicians in parliament, that's for another conversation. We did have it in mind. So it will happen and we'll be able to hopefully host them soon. We do need to go around. We'll give you a chance to respond. What do you think is the future of youth in politics? I know that you've heard a lot of this rhetoric before. It's not new to you. A lot of people may or may not believe some of the things you're saying. But what are your thoughts on the future of youth in politics in Kenya? What do you think we need to see to elevate that? In a minute, because we're just about to go to the news bulletin.
I think the future of youth in this nation is luminous. One, as a Secretary General of Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, KYPA, we have around 48 members who are below 35 years and below. That shows you that at least there's hope. We have MCAs in KYPA, 1,027. That shows you that at least youth are realizing that they have potential. And what we need as youth is just inclusivity. For a long time, we've been on the menu, eaten. We need to be on the table to make decisions in this nation.
All right, thank you for those comments.
For the BBI, the last one as I proceed, because he took into my time, the BBI, as I may speak, the BBI alone, we are presenting a proposal to them about the inclusion of the youths. If at all, just the way it's done in the two-third gender rule, if at all we are going to have ambassadors, we want a third to be youths. Cabinet secretaries, we want a third to be youths.
All right.
Any appointed position in this nation, we want them to be youth.
I think people can follow you online to see some of these ideas. So thank you for sharing that. Very briefly, your thoughts on the future.
I think the future is bright. The government has put enough mechanisms to allow young people to participate. The National Youth Policy has just been approved. We never had one since I think the Constitution was passed. And young people need to take advantage of technology, the innovation, the ability to take risks, to take up those spaces. So it's very bright.
All right, very quickly, I have like 30 seconds to go.
All right, I just wish young people would be more aware, would be more present, and realize that these issues affect them, and it is for their own good for them to participate. So just be aware, be present, and just try.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you have about 15 seconds.
My appeal is that for the leaders we have, let them be true to the call. I will repeat that. Yesterday, the party leader for ODM said that MPs had taken advantage of a trip to the US. I would wish for young leaders like Babu Owino to come forth and say, we can do things right. We do not have to be
I've done it before and I'll do it again.
All right.
Thank you.
This is a conversation
not put MPs together. Not all MPs who are going to states, okay?
All right. Let's definitely continue this conversation online. We are out of time. What are your thoughts on young people vying? Are you encouraged as somebody who's out there watching the show? Are you still nervous? Share your thoughts with us. Use the hashtag HereAndNowKE on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my panelists for this participation. I'm Janet Bogwa. Thank you for watching Here and Now. The conversation continues. You're watching NTV. Have a good night.